Bhanusinh, as a member of the Cheetah Task Force, listening to Valmik Thapar address all his concerns, that this is not the way to translocate an animal like the cheetah into Kuno, which he believes is a space where the cheetah will compete with leopards, possibly with tigers from neighboring Ranthambore. It isn't the best space to be in.
All right, Rajdeep, thank you very much. Before I come to Valmik Thapar, two ways. There is an echo.
Yeah, go ahead.
In my sound. Yeah, okay. First, a small correction. The last reports of cheetahs in India was in 1967 from the same location where the 3 cheetahs were shot. One, and there was one from Hazaribagh even later. And if you look at the Indian subcontinent, the last reports of cheetahs in the Indian subcontinent were from the Chagi Plains in Balochistan in 1997, where one was shot, 1 cheetah and 2 cubs were sighted, and 1 cheetah skin came for sale in Islamabad. Having said that, I'll come to Valmik. The issue is this, that the difference between African and Indian or Asiatic cheetahs is very, very minor, as the DNA tells you today. One. Point number 2, cheetahs in Africa, wherever they are used to living with leopards and hyenas. One specific point, hyenas, the spotted hyenas in Africa are in packs, whereas the striped hyena is not in packs in India. Of course there are leopards. Of course there is a possibility of some kind of a interaction between leopards and cheetahs. But then that's what they face back home. Coming back to calling them African cheetahs, I really don't know. You see, between 1918 and 1947 or 50, 200 cheetahs were imported from Africa. They came after a 15 days journey, without tranquilizers, without antibiotics. And they were treated by our Indian people as if they were Indian cheetahs. And they were treated when they fell ill with Indian medicines, not Western medicines. And so what are we talking about African cheetahs? There is no such specific, I mean, there is the distinction between African cheetahs and Asian cheetahs is so minimal that we are not bringing an animal which is entirely different. Valmik talks of bringing in zebras and God knows what else. But zebras never existed in India. Cheetahs did. And they, my God, they did until 1997 in the Indian subcontinent. I see no problem whatsoever. Look, if we do not take a risk, you cannot progress. If the Americans hadn't decided to go to the moon, we would have never gone to it, and we lost astronauts. So what? Let's go ahead with it. Also, it's not a zero-sum game that if cheetahs come, then all other Indian animals are not going to be protected. That's ridiculous. Also, cheetahs,
but what's the big benefit? What's the big positive?
Is the cause of protection. I'll tell you, the big benefit is this. I'll tell you. The big benefit is that if a mega animal which becomes a flagship animal, you are going to be able to protect a hell of a lot of grasslands, scrub jungles, which the government has so far, since last 70 years, paid very scant attention to. Our entire effort has been forest related. Kuno Palpur is a forest, of course. But do you know, Rajdeep, that as late as 1920, the Shikar Khana in charge of Gwalior state said that there are 50 cheetahs in this area. So what are we talking about? Let's look at history properly. Let's do our homework before we make this kind of statements. You know, I'm sorry. I'm terribly sorry that this kind of a strident attitude is displaying itself here.